What's up, jackalopes? I recently reorganized all of my books because I got these new bookcases put together. My old one was like legitimately falling apart. There were nails coming out of the back of it. So I got to put all of my books on these wonderful new bookshelves that my aunt helped me put together. And going through that process really kind of reignited my interest in a lot of these books. So while I was going through them and thinking about them, I decided to pull some out that I think are going to be 5-star reads for me. So today, basically, I'm just going to be doing some 5-star predictions, and I'm very excited about all of these. Yeah, let's just get started. I have, I think, 10 books here that I want to talk about, so let's go. So the first book that I have on my stack over here is Play Like a Feminist by Shira Kress, and this is a book that talks about feminism and play and feminism in the video game Wow, I can't speak. These words shouldn't be that hard. Feminism in the video game industry. So it's about that intersection there and the ways that Shira Kress thinks that feminism needs the video game industry as much as the video game industry needs feminism. So I think this is going to be a 5-star read for me because I'm really interested in game studies. That's the field that I'm hoping to eventually go into. And I'm also really interested in the ways that feminism intersects with the video game industry because I know that that is an important topic because the industry has been so male-dominated for so long. So I'm very interested to get into this one. Also, it's very short. I think this is one of several books that MIT has published that are all game studies oriented. So if I like this one, I'm gonna go see if I can find the others and start reading them. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. I think it'll be really helpful for me in terms of my ultimate kind of educational and career trajectory. Also, I really like the cover. I love this little, like, was it like 32-bit Medusa? I'm not really sure how many bits this is, but I love this Medusa on the cover, so that's really cool too. Next book I have in my stack is Emma by Jane Austen, and this one is here because I just read Pride and Prejudice recently and I gave that one 5 stars. I really enjoyed the writing style, I loved the characters. From what I remember, this book is about Emma, obviously, and she's trying to like set her cousin up with someone and then ends up fighting her own attraction to Mr. Knightley. So that sounds interesting. I didn't realize that I was going to enjoy this kind of book until I had read Pride and Prejudice, but now I know that I really do enjoy kind of comedy of manners style novels, and also I really like Jane Austen's writing, so I'm very excited to get to this one even though I'm not like totally certain what the premise is. I think I may have gotten parts of it wrong there, but you know, I tried. Third book up is actually the book I'm currently reading, which is A Memory Called Empire by Eric Katie Martin. This is a space opera about an ambassador who goes from the mining station that she's from to the capital of this empire, which I believe is pronounced Teixcalan is the empire. And so she goes to the capital only to find out that the previous ambassador from her mining station is dead, has been murdered, and nobody will tell her anything about it. So she ends up having to try and deal with all the political stuff going on there and try and protect the interests of her mining station while also trying to figure out why the previous ambassador was killed and how not to get killed herself. So I think that's going to be really fun. I don't read a lot of sci-fi or really anything set in space. I think parts of the genre just don't really interest me, or at least what I've heard about parts of the genre. I don't really care about like colonialism in space or anything like that, or, you know, really big kind of space wars. Those don't really interest me as much, but I do like political intrigue in a book and court intrigue, which my best friend read this and recommended it to me, and she said there's a lot of that, and it's also basically like court intrigue plus murder mystery in space, and that combination sounds really interesting to me. So I think I'm gonna like this. I also think I'm gonna like this because my friend recommended it to me, and she has so far not recommended me anything I didn't end up loving. So I think that this one is like almost a surefire 5 stars. Next book up is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which is a Gothic novel about a woman in 1950s Mexico who receives a letter from her cousin who's recently been married. The letter is basically asking for help. I think the cousin says that the husband is like poisoning her or something, and so Nomi goes to see her cousin and try to figure out what's going on, and things get real creepy real fast. That's all I know about this book. I don't really need to know more. I like Gothic novels, and I'm kind of starting to dip my toes more into horror too. So I'm just really excited to read this one. I keep hearing excellent things about it. This is another one with a really great cover. I noticed that the color scheme is kind of similar to the Play Like a Feminist. Maybe that's why I like it. But I do really think that the whole premise of this book is appealing. I think that I'm gonna really enjoy the atmosphere of the book and the themes probably, just from what I've read of other Gothic works. And oh, I'm also picking this up in a few days. I think I'm currently planning to read this for Fortnite Frights, and I am hoping to participate in the Three Blondes in a Book club's 24-hour spooky readathon, and I'm probably going to be reading this for that. So I'm very excited to pick this one up. The next book I have is Thunderstruck, which is a nonfiction book. It's by Erik Larson. I think he's pretty well known for his most recent one, The Splendid and the Vile, about Winston Churchill, and I have previously read The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson, and that is one of my all-time favorite nonfiction books. That one deals with the Chicago World's Fair and also the serial killer Henry H. Holmes, which I think is really interesting. I loved that one. So I think I'm gonna like this one too. Kind of similar, where I've read something by the author before, kind of like where I think I'm gonna like Emma because of Pride and Prejudice. I've read something by this author before. I know I enjoy his writing style. It's nonfiction, but it reads a lot more like fiction from what I remember of Devil in the White City. And this is another one that kind of involves the connection between like new technology or a new innovation and also a murderer. So that's kind of, I guess, my jam. I like science writing, I like information about new technology, but I also am really interested in like crime. I studied criminology in college, so that's kind of my thing. So I am very excited to read this one. I know this is going to take me a while to get through, so I haven't picked it up yet because I know it is going to be quite dense. It does read like fiction, but it's also very well researched and there's a lot of information to take in, so I know it's going to take me a while. So this is about the invention of wireless communication that allows them ultimately to catch a murderer who I think he was fleeing to Canada or something. But yeah, I think this is really going to be an interesting book because I do love that intersection between crime and new technology. The next one I have is a mystery. So again, I'm really interested in crime, but this one is The Alienist by Caleb Carr. I think people know this one pretty well because it was made into a TV show a little while back, I think last year. No, it would have been earlier because I watched part of it in 2018. But there's a TV show with Daniel Bruhl and Luke Evans, I think, and Dakota Fanning. So it's been around for a little bit, but this one is a historical mystery where the psychologist or alienist named Dr. Laszlo Laszlo Kreisler gets pulled into a murder investigation along with a journalist friend of his. So they are helping catch a murderer. And I know there's a sequel out, I think, as of this year. So that's exciting too. My boyfriend recently read this, or I think a few months ago, and he absolutely loved it. He said this is one of his favorite books that he's read this year, I believe. So I think I'm gonna really enjoy it. I have in the past really loved historical mysteries, so I think this is another one of those books that's just kind of like, it's my jam. It's everything I want in a book. So I think I'm gonna really like this one. Obviously, kind of the point of this video is that I'm gonna really like these, and so maybe I should stop saying that over and over again, but you know, it's fine. Next up is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, which is a new release. It came out, I think, last Tuesday. This past Tuesday? The 13th. It came out recently, and this one, all I know about it is that it is a fantasy based on pre-Columbian civilizations, and there's something to do with a solar eclipse and also a crow god of some sort. And it follows a ship captain whose name I think is Ziala? Yes. So she is headed towards the capital of this empire or kingdom, and her ship is carrying a man who is blind and seems harmless, but she's convinced that if he seems harmless, he's probably a villain. Obviously, I don't know a ton about this book, but I kind of want to keep it that way because I think that I'm going to enjoy it a lot more if I go in a little bit blind. Everything about this book just sounded awesome to me, and I know I've heard there's some good LGBT plus rep in here too, so that's fun. And I think that this is just going to be excellent. I've not read anything by Rebecca Roanhorse before, but I've heard nothing but good things about this book, and so I'm very excited. Again, this is my mantra, I'm very excited to pick these books up. I'm hoping to get to this one soon though. If I can get to it this month or in November, that would be ideal. Penultimate book on my list is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, and this one's here because I, like some of these others, have read something by the author before. I read Circe last December, and it's an all-time favorite book of mine. I absolutely loved it. I'm hoping to reread it soon, actually. I know that I like Madeline Miller's writing style. I've heard good things about The Song of Achilles. I know for some people it tends to be kind of, they like Song of Achilles or they like Circe, and there's... cat is committing a heist. He's breaking into the pantry downstairs. I can hear him. It's fine, everything is sealed. He can't get in anything. I know some people tend to like one of her books or the other, but I think that because I like the writing style and because I am very interested in Greek mythology and actually pretty much any kind of mythology, I'm looking for more books on mythology, so if you have any recommendations, please feel free to leave them in the comments. But because I like mythology and I know I like her writing style, I think that I'm really gonna enjoy this. I've also heard it's sad, which is why I haven't read it yet. I'm kind of putting it off, but hopefully soon. We'll see. This might be a 2021 read. The final book on my list is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and I know that this one's quite popular as well. I've heard a lot of people say they love this book. I have read one other book by Carlos Ruiz Zafón that was actually from this series. So this is from a quadrilogy, and I've read the third book in this series because my high school Spanish teacher lent it to me. She thought I would like it. I read it in like 2 days and returned it to her. It was so good. I think my understanding is that these books can kind of be read as standalones, but they're also in a series together that kind of go together but don't have to be read like in a specific order. So now I'm trying to go back to the beginning and start with the first book. And really this one follows a character who's also in the third book, but he's an antiquarian. No, he's the son of an antiquarian. I think he is an antiquarian in the third book, so I'm gonna get that a little confused. But he finds this book that he really loves and later finds out that all of the copies of this author's books have been burned and they're pretty much all gone except for like the copy that he has. And so he decides he wants to find out why that's happening, who has decided to burn the books, who wants them destroyed, and why. So I think that there's kind of a mystery element, there's a kind of a bookish element, and it's also set in Barcelona in the 40s. So I think it's going to be quite atmospheric. I know the third book was, so I am, again, very excited to get into this one. I think it'll be interesting because this is the only one on this list that directly connects to something I had previously read. So, I mean, I'm already getting kind of mixed up in the details from The Prisoner of Heaven, which is the previous one I've read, and this one, but I am really interested to see how this goes, and I know that I love the writing style from The Prisoner of Heaven, so I think I'm probably gonna love it here too. And also the fact that there's kind of a mystery element. That's kind of a theme here. I like mysteries, so there's a lot of mystery elements happening over here. I'm gesturing at a stack you can't see. But yeah, also this is one that's got a really interesting cover. It's got kind of this neat cutout thing in it where there's like a page behind it and it's just like a little dude and cutout. So I think that's fun too. But that's it. That is all 10 of the books that I think are going to be 5-star reads. It's not all of the 5-star reads that I think are on my shelf. There were quite a few. It took me a while to kind of narrow down to 10 that I wanted to talk about, but I think these are the ones that I am the most excited about, and I was interested when I was pulling them out to see there were some themes like crime and mystery, but I felt like I had a pretty good variety. There's, you know, science fiction, there's gothic, there's historical, there's nonfiction, so I think that that was really interesting. I think my reading tastes have kind of broadened as I've gotten older, because I used to read almost exclusively mysteries and occasionally nonfiction if I found something I liked, but mostly mysteries. And so to see that I've got a much more varied stack of books that I think I'm going to absolutely love here was kind of exciting to me. I think that that's really interesting. But those are all of the books that I have to share with you today. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, leave me a star in the comments because 5-star predictions. If you want to connect with me, you can do that via social media. Those links will be in the description. I'm on Goodreads, Twitter, and Instagram, although my Instagram is pretty dead, so Twitter and Goodreads are better options. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the next one. So,